So starting the test drive in this Electrified GV70, a pretty nice ride. What I love about these is, and I said this earlier in terms of the looks, but driving this to my filming position, I was kind of feeling for the differences, and it still rides about 90, I'd say 85 to 90% like a typical GV70, because the GV70s had more of a sporty suspension feel anyway. And just having the EV platform, it feels about the same, maybe just a tad bouncier, but also it's not gonna drive exactly like a typical GV70, especially when you have this iPedal activated, which I do, because you have that max regenerative braking. But it's still I mean, you don't have an engine going, so that helps. And with that being said, the sound acoustics are still fantastic in here. So I'm doing 30 miles per hour, but it's almost silent in here. You can barely hear the road noise. And then even as the wind picks up, I can feel it being deadened to the max by the cabin. I'm gonna adjust the steering wheel so I can see my drive mode down here. So I'm in sport now, and I'll probably leave it in sport most, if not all the time during this test drive here. But I mean, driving dynamics are, again, very similar to a GV70. And I think that's why I'm so glad they call this an Electrified GV70, because that's really what this is. There's no need to rename it. It's a GV70 with an electric powertrain, and this is one of the few times, maybe the only times from Genesis, that we see a vehicle that's gas powered and then just being made 100% electric, and very few changes are made to it. Now I'm gonna give it a punch when I get to the interstate, and we'll see how it does with the boost function. That's one of the things I love about EVs, is you don't have to necessarily wait for it to break in like some other fast vehicles. You can just get right to it. Now, I probably won't be able to give this thing max throttle until I'm actually on the interstate, but I'll try and leave myself some room to do that. So I'm gonna activate the boost now. And here we go. Wow. Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, that is insane. Absolutely incredible. Yeah, that pull was nasty. Very impressed. I'm gonna go ahead and just test the cruise out real quick. Don't have much time to do that. And then we're gonna push the gap back here. So I mean, what's cool about that is you have the boost function and all of that, and it's just, then you can just get back to cruising like you normally would. Yeah, this thing is super cool. And you do get the twin turbo V6 option in this, and that's pretty exhilarating, but nothing like what I just experienced. And then on top of that, you're absolutely silent. So that's just, that was very fun. Now, as opposed to the GV60, I think the GV60 is probably the most fun EV you can get from Genesis. But again, with the GV70, it's just nice that you get something that's very practical, in the sense that it's still a Genesis. It still feels like, it's not like they made a new EV just for an EV. So that's probably the best way to describe this. Very nice vehicle, very impressive. And this will bring me to the end of my review of this 2024 Electrified Genesis GV70.